What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Ready to Love. Yes, the show finally came back, and I completely forgot all about it. I forgot who these people were. Just work with me. This is season 10, episode 7, I believe, and the episode is titled Meet the Exes. Y'all, when I tell you I need for them to drop the whole Meet the Exes segment, like, we don't even need that episode. Because for what we got this episode, this should be the last time Ready to Love is meeting anybody exes. Honestly, we just need to meet the family and the friends. That's it. But let's get into it. So, Fritz and Eddie both went home. I had a feeling that both of them were not going to make it. And I'm okay with that. Because Fritz, he was playing in all the ladies' faces, okay? But when it came to Eddie, they were playing in his, because all the things that they said about him was kind of crazy. Because it was low-key giving, oh, he's not interested in me, so we should go ahead and send him home. And here's the thing, everybody's not going to be interested in everybody. But you know what? Moving on from there, the men, they meet in the lounge, and of course they find out that they're going to be meeting the ladies' exes. So the first person up is Hussein. He ends up meeting up with Angie's child's father. And we just quickly learned that they had a communication issue. Basically, she is the type of person that's headstrong. She want to do things her way. And it was to the point where when she was pregnant with her child, water broke, she in labor, and she decided that she was going to go ahead and drive herself to the hospital. Now, my question is this. Was it a situation where you got in the passenger seat? Or was it that she did not want to wait on you to meet her wherever she was so that way you could drive? Because I'm just thinking, if I'm pregnant and I'm ready to go ahead and go to the hospital, was this a situation where she would have had to wait for you to get off work or wherever you was coming from to take her to the hospital? She's like, you know what, forget it. I think I can make it. The hospital is only 15 minutes away. Was that the situation? Or was it like, oh yeah, my water just broke, I need to go to the hospital, I'm going to drive. And you like, nah, babe, I got it. And she told you, nah, you going to get in the passenger seat. Like, what was that? But besides that, Hussein, he asked no questions. And I'm just like, here's what's frustrating about this show when it comes to meeting the exes. Like, I be feeling like it's supposed to be give and take, right? I thought it was supposed to be, you want to know more about, in this case, the ladies, right? So y'all want to know more about them and how they were in their previous relationships, right? Okay, cool. So that's what you're going to ask the ex. What type of person she was. Okay, cool. But then I also thought that the ex would be able to ask questions so that way they can get a feel on the type of guy that you are and then give that woman some feedback. Because I just feel like that is not what happens when the exes come around. And we're going to get to that when it comes to the next people who decide to play in our face. And that would be Kiera and Jay. Mostly Kiera, because I'm confused. Kiera, why did you bring him? Of all the people that you could have brought on this show, why did you bring this man here? First things first. Okay, Kiera, Jules, and Jay sitting there, right? And what's crazy is that in the confessional, Jay is going on and on about how he's this thoroughbred man and how she ain't ever dated nobody like him. Sir, okay, you think very highly of yourself. But at the same time, I kind of feel like the only reason why she brought this man on here was because he wasn't like in the streets or like a dope dealer. Because, I'm sorry, Kiera gives me that vibe that that's the type of guys that she used to date when she was in her 20s. And now that she's in her 30s, she wants to move on from that former lifestyle. That's the vibe that I'm getting. So that is how this man got here. That's my theory. That's the first thing. Now, that man decided to open up his mouth. I think his name is Jules. He opened up his mouth, and baby, when I tell you, he should have went on ahead and closed it. First of all, he said that he is 9 years older than her. And she is younger than his younger sister. So I'm just like, okay, so maybe she was just some little girl that was around the neighborhood. Okay. How did y'all even hook up? Baby, this man gonna say he waited until she was of age and snatched her up. And he always kept an eye on her. And I'm just like, sir, you're giving predator. You are giving predator if I've ever heard right about now. Now, I will say this. For me, there is a weird age where I feel like people try to make it seem like, oh, these people, they shouldn't be dating because of an age gap. But to me, if you could have possibly been in high school with that person, I don't really look at that as like an age gap. For example, if you were 16 and the person is 18, right? And y'all meet, y'all may have had a class together in high school or something. Y'all connected, whatever. When that person turns 19, you're 17. I don't think that means that y'all need to break up. Because, like I said, y'all were in high school together. That's not really a big deal for me. That man is 9 years. 9 years older than her. Plotted on her. And I'm just like, Kiera, this is who you brought? Why? Like, I just don't understand what the goal was, what the end game was in bringing a man on here that you may have dated when you was like 18 years old, and it doesn't sound like they even dated for a long time, okay? I'm just confused. Like, is your other dudes in jail and you couldn't bring them? What is this? Because then that man, he sat up here and was like, yeah, because I remember her when she was a humble servant. I said, a humble servant? Sir, what do you even mean by that? And he basically was saying how she was not who she is today. And here's the thing. I just hate the fact that Jay, he loves to be like, oh yeah, she's bougie. She's like a city girl. She's whatever words that he like to use. And I'm just like, okay, but what is Kiera's heart like? Like, I get it. She likes the nicer things. She likes to dress up. She keeps her nails done, hair done, all of that. That's all good. But I just feel like there is such a disconnect when it comes to Jay and Kiera, because it seems like he does not look past her being a baddie. You know what I'm saying? Because when that man, Jules, he asked Jay, like, oh, so what do you think, is like the connection? Like, what's connecting you to Kiera? Jay didn't really have nothing to say besides the fact that she was bougie. And I'm like, okay, you've said that on multiple occasions. What else are you seeing in her besides her being beautiful and liking, nice things in her life? Like, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Jay and Kiera. Oh, I forgot to mention, y'all, that at one point that ex was low-key trying to profess his love for Kiera and basically saying she the one who got away. Sir, if you don't get your creepy ass on, like, again, Kiera, don't you ever bring that man around. Like, that is not your friend if he is waiting in the wings in hopes that you will give him another chance. That man is a weirdo. But y'all, let's go ahead and move on. So we get Cisco and Shanice, right? Now, she brought her old college boyfriend. I said, yo, college boyfriend. Baby, Shanice, you have been grown for so long. College is so far in the past. I mean, like, let's be honest here. College is well over 20 years ago for Shanice. So, what's going on? Nonetheless, Augie, he seems like a very nice man. He did tell Cisco that the reason why they did not work out was because at that point in their life, she was pretty much ambitious. She was very ambitious. She wanted to travel the world. She wanted to see other things. And he was not ready to do that in his life at that time. Okay? Here's my question. Shanice, is that man single right now? Because you may need to circle the block. Okay? He seemed like a nice man. Because when it came to Cisco, y'all, Cisco literally talks about how he loves the way she pours into him with his spirituality, and she'll pray for him and all these things. But what's crazy is when he talk about Tay, she don't do none of those things. Tay sits there and look pretty much. But he is all into Tay. It's very clear, especially because in this same scene, he is the one who brought up Tay because he's like, yeah, I have interest in another woman. Her name is Tay. And Augie was like, oh, what does Tay look like? And Shanice was like, oh, she's cute. But Cisco, he's like, nah, she ain't cute. She's beautiful. And I'm just like, sir, why would you do that? This right here, Shanice, this was him letting you know that you were not his priority. You were not his number one. Okay? He made sure to correct the fact that Tay is above cute. Girl, move on. Find somebody else. But yeah, that was pretty much that scene. We're going to go ahead and move on because Cam, he meets with Sahara. And y'all, her ex is not there. I believe she said that her ex passed away. But if, he had any questions, she could be an open book. She does talk about how, when she is in love with somebody, she loves unconditionally. And that, honestly, is her downfall. Because there has been times where she would let things ride, let things go, and she would stay in situations that no longer served her. Okay? She was sticking around in relationships that should have ended a long time ago. Okay? So then he kind of chimed in and was like, oh, yeah, you sound like a ride or die. And I'm with her. Can we let that phrase go? I'm trying to ride with you and I'm trying to live. Ain't no ride or die. Okay? We are leaving that in the early 2000s. Okay? Now, she does talk about how her exes, or at least one of her exes, would handle her kind of rough because he felt like she could take it. And one thing that I can say is that I do appreciate how open she is in this moment. And I feel like she's being honest. You know what I mean? I don't think that she is just saying stuff just to be saying it like some other people. Okay? Because we gonna get to them. But in this moment, I'm just like, you know what? I like Cam and Sahara. Out of all of Cam's options, because baby, I didn't even realize or remember that he had 3 options. But nonetheless, out of all of his options, I actually like Sahara for him the best. And I don't even like Cam. But I do think that there's something about those two that I like over his relationships with other people. But let's go ahead and move on because we get to Hussein. He's on a second date, right? He's going to meet up with Rose and her ex, Kaylin. I'm like, okay, cool. Kaylin, he a nice looking man. So Rose, I get it. Now, next thing you know, Cam shows up, and I kind of forgot that Cam and Rose had something going on. Me personally, I don't even understand why, and we gonna get to it in a second. So when it came to Rose and her ex, they were friends for 13 years, and then they just dated last year. And it doesn't seem like they dated a long time to know that, this ain't gonna work. So, this is one thing that I can respect. Now, I don't know if they dated for real, because this definitely is giving, he was just her homeboy and she decided to break him on the show. But with her saying that they dated last year, at least this was a recent ex. Everybody else who brought an ex on this show, these are people from like over 10 years ago. And I just feel like this show has got to be stopped. If y'all are going to bring the exes, they have to be recent. I don't want the person who knew you when you was 18, because baby, you are no longer that girl. You're not. Life has happened to you. You've probably gone through some things. You are not that young, naive girl anymore. So I need to know what you're like currently. Now, besides that, according to Kaylon, the reason why they did not work out was because he has 3 children and he did not have time for her. Right? He just could not give her the adequate time that she needed. And here's the thing. They're trying to figure out, okay, so what's like her little red flag, right? Oh, Kayla's like, oh no, she doesn't have any of those because her thing is that she cares too much. And Cam, he ain't buying it. Cam is like, nah, that ain't it. But here's the thing. Hussein, he felt the same way. He's like, nah, you making it seem like she's too good to be true. So Cam being Cam, which I kind of feel like Cam just wanted the ladies to tell their dirt, or at least have the exes tell some type of dirt on these ladies. And he threw in a curveball, which I feel like he already knew what the answer was. And I'm not even understanding why Cam and Rose are still playing. He asked her about, the spirituality stuff, because we all know Rose is a Christian woman who wants a Christian man. Cam, I believe he's like atheist or agnostic. I'm not understanding why she keeps trying to play with the devil like that. I'm not saying that he's the devil, but I'm just saying, like, if you are a Christian person, it does not make sense for you to go date somebody who don't believe in God. Like, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And it's crazy because she over here talking about some, I'm very like lenient about it. Like, don't even worry about it if you don't want to make it to church all the time. Like, I'm so understanding. Rose, this makes you sound crazy. And this makes you sound like you are that thirsty for a man that you are willing to put your own values to the side just to have a man. That sounds crazy. Okay? Cam and Rose, y'all need to go ahead and let this go. Moving on, we see Khalil. Y'all, I completely forgot all about him. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh yeah, you are still around. So, Khalil is there and Francisco is there, and they are meeting up with Tay. Tay is another one who don't got no exes. According to her, it's because all of her exes are in relationships, and out of respect for their relationships, she didn't think it was appropriate, and she understood that they couldn't come. Tay did not ask any of her exes to show up. She didn't. We just gotta be honest. And anytime somebody don't want to bring their exes, low-key in my mind, it be sounding like either you had a tumultuous, like, toxic relationship, or you was the problem. So I'm going to let y'all decide which one Tay was, okay? So they're asking her, all these questions because she says that she's an open book, right? Khalil ends up asking her, like, what's things that she doesn't like about a partner. And she's like, oh, I don't like if they snore. Girl, what else you got, okay? So then Tay, she does talk about how if she has a conflict in the relationship, that she can be very defensive, and she doesn't like when people are like distant from her if she's trying to talk to them. So like if you give her the silent treatment, or if you just not rocking with her in that moment, she's gonna feel some type of way. Okay. So then I'm just like, okay, we're learning some information about her. Cool. Y'all, Khalil then asked her, okay, so in a slow week, how often did you have sex with your ex? And y'all, I'm just like, you couldn't have asked her that on the phone. Like, I don't know. Anytime they ask, like, sexual questions on this show, I'm just like, okay, what else is going on? Like, and this is not even me being, like, a prude. I just kind of feel like that question came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But whatever. Now, one thing that I did find interesting was the fact that Cisco, he was feeling like the third wheel, right? And I'm just like, okay, you are literally saying that you feel like you're the third wheel in this situation, which means that you will be taking what? The number 2 spot. But you have somebody who actually wants you for real, which is Shanice, but you have already put her on the back burner as your number 2. Like, as much as Cisco, he wants Tay, I don't even think that he's man enough to be with Tay, because he still have a lot of stuff to get through in his personal life, okay? But we're going to go ahead and move on, because Cam, he meets up with Angie, right? And basically, she feels like he don't need to meet her ex yet, because they are not there in their process. And honestly, y'all, I cannot be mad at her. I can't be mad at her, because if we just start talking or whatever, and I don't feel like we're that locked in, then no, you don't need to meet my exes or whatever. So Cam, he feels some type of way though, because he's like, I thought I was going to be meeting her ex. And at this point, she ends up asking him some questions like, oh, what would your ex say about you? And he's like, oh, that I nitpick. Baby, he ain't lying. That man definitely nitpicks for sure. And basically, he doesn't like loud talking, and he don't like to argue. But Angie, on the other hand, she's like, oh, wait, no, I like to argue because I like to make up afterwards. And here's the thing. He feels like every conversation with her turns sexual. And it absolutely does. I feel like Eddie said the same thing about Angie, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's just her personality. That's just who she is. Is it a bad thing? No, not exactly. But I do kind of feel like Angie it's okay if you don't lead with that. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, y'all, I just don't see it for Angie and Cam. I don't. Like, I do not see them as a couple in any way, shape, or form. Okay? But let's go ahead and move on. Y'all, we see Deanna. She ain't got no ex either, but she meets up with Naeem and Khalil. Again, I just think that she is more of the toxic route, but we gonna let it be what it's gonna be. She basically admits that she's a runner. And she then told them that, she's the type of person that will let things build up, okay? So if you do something and it pisses her off and you keep doing it, she ain't gonna tell you to stop it. She just gonna let it keep building up, and then she just gonna walk off on you, okay? Like, just gonna be done with you. No conversation had, issue never addressed. I'm just like, Deanna, girl, you got a lot of work that you need to do, okay? For your own well-being. Like, that is toxic. That is terrible, because that means that you walking around with an attitude because somebody has done something to piss you off, yet you ain't even told them what they did wrong. That sounds crazy. But yeah, that was pretty much that. The guys, they still are interested in Deanna. We get back to the lounge or whatever, and I did find it interesting that Jay was talking about Kiera and her weird ex and how that man still wants her. And Tommy is like, yeah, because that man, he's still seeing her like she's 9 years old. Exactly. Because that man was weird. I'm just so confused as to why Kiera brought that man. But nonetheless, everybody kind of goes around a room, talk about their date. And honestly, it's not really a lot to point out besides the fact that Cam, he has now learned that Hussein has met Angie's ex, and now he feels some type of way about it. Okay, that's the only thing I think that really happened. Besides that, we can go ahead and talk about the elimination, okay? So, we get to Francisco meeting up with Shanice, and Angie meets up with Cam, right? Now, Cam basically tells Angie that he felt some type of way because he did not meet her ex. And Angie, girl, you still ready to love. Honestly, I feel like Cam only wanted to meet her ex so that way he could get some type of negative information about her. Now, when we move on over to Shanice and Cisco, though, here's the thing. Shanice already felt like her and Francisco were drifting apart, right? And Cisco, he goes on about how this lady taps into his spiritual side and all these things. And I'm just like, you're repetitive because you have said this same thing for like 2 episodes now. What else does she offer? So then he tells her that she's not ready to love. And y'all, this man was trying to do his best to be acting. And I'm like, I cannot take you seriously because it's crazy to me that you over here acting like you extremely emotional when in your confessional, you're like, yeah, during that elimination, I just realized that, like, I'm really interested in Tay. Like, that's the only thing I'm worried about is Tay. And y'all, when I tell you, Shanice probably had one of the best exits on this show. Because she was like, maybe my purpose on the show was not to find love. Maybe it was to pour into you in your time of need, to let you know that you're still a king. You're still this, you're still that, all these things. And I'm just like, you know what, Cisco? Shanice, I feel like she would have been very understanding to your situation. She would have poured into you and all the things. But your little rusty, dusty ass, you don't even see what's right in front of you because you're looking at Tay. And Tay is giving you the side eye because your dusty ass is renting a room and you don't even have your own place. You don't have a car. You're dusty to her. Like, I would be completely shocked, you guys, if Tay and Cisco make it to the end. But y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Are y'all back there ready to love is back? Let me know in the comments. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.